All right, think I'm live. Welcome to Terminator Juice's top 5 games of 2024. Now, normally we do this in the Juice of this podcast, but it was just myself and Ms. T who actually had 5 games that we pretty much completed. Terrell had maybe one. I don't even know if he completed it, and then Jason or clocked it. Also the same. What's up, ASAP Pops? So yeah. Anyway, didn't have enough people to do the normal Game of the Year podcast, and I thought I'd just do it myself. Now, this isn't gonna be talking about current topics. This isn't gonna be answering questions. I'm literally just gonna go over a little bit of summarize my gaming of 2024, and then go through the categories. I have most disappointing most disappointing game or announcement, um, the best sound or music in a game, best visuals, biggest best surprise, and best non 2024 game that I beat in 2024, and then obviously the top 5. So um, just going to start with the year in general. I started off pretty slow gaming wise. I think the first 3 months of the year, I started Darksiders 2, put like 7 hours in that, and then just messed around with Elden Ring and stuff. But mostly I was working on home theater stuff most of this year, and especially the first couple. Probably not in January, but February and March, I did a major project in there and just hadn't really done any gaming. It wasn't until, was it April, where Stellar Blade came out? That was like the first game of the year that just took me away from home theater and movie stuff, and just I dedicated like just time just to game, and to finish that game and to platinum trophy it, and put a lot of time into it. And then later in the second half of the year, definitely got more into other games. But honestly, just totaling like the 2024 games I started in 2024 was 6 games total, if not counting the Elden Ring DLC expansion. And I've completed 5 of those. So basically, my top 5 is the 5 games I beat, but I did really like them all. I'm trying to think if there was any game I wish I had played. Like Black Myth Wukong's probably the only game I might have made the top 5, but I'm not sure. So, yeah, without any further ado, I don't expect this to be a big like live stream audience. I'm making this more for the the replay, the people to watch, and yeah. So without any further ado, let's get into the first category, which is most disappointing game and or announcement of 2024. So, and shout out to Robert of Gaming With Me. I don't have to stick to his rules. The last couple years, he was the host, and we stuck to his rules. No negatives and 1 minute time limit. So I'm gonna go off. I'm gonna try to take up, just my own top 5. It's probably gonna be over an hour. So, most disappointing game is a game I didn't play, but I was very much looking forward to ever since it was revealed in 2019 at the Game Awards. I believe it was 2019, and that is Senua's Sacrifice, Hellblade 2. I'm a fan of the original game. I've owned it on 3 platforms: Switch, PC, and Xbox, and I've beaten it 4 times, I think. And I enjoyed the game. It was a budget title. I think it was $30 when it came out. I paid $30 for it. Twice. Well, actually, I got it on sale. The Xbox, the physical version, I forget what I paid, and the Switch sale was like $11.99. And I was really looking forward to that game. And I have a couple videos where I just uploaded gameplay, and I swear I did one where I talked. Maybe it was during a podcast. I received some flack from at least one person I can think of for liking that game so much. But basically, I thought the combat was fun and showed a lot of potential to evolve, and I really hope that they would try to make this like a God of War type of scale game, kind of compete directly with God of War. And, they announced it in 2019. I know it wasn't actual gameplay, they were moving studio, or whatever. They built a new studio, a new motion capture volume, and I was just, over the years they kept posting, recording sounds in ice caves and stuff, and I was getting a little worried. Felt like they're getting a little too focused on production stuff, and I was wondering what the actual game is. And then the first time we saw it was more of a cinematic running at the camera thing, and I was like, all right, that's quick time event cinematic basically. Showed off the visuals for sure, and then the next time we seen it, kind of similar feeling. So long story short, when the game came out, reviews, I don't listen to reviews, like I don't look at the scores and all that, but the things people were saying were all the opposite of the things I was hoping for. So um, I wanted them to expand the combat, because there was a pretty good base, I thought, a good foundation, but room to expand, to add more combos, to add this, just more, maybe some weapons, or just other things they could do. Instead, they went the opposite way. They made it, instead of being multiple enemies where you had to be really aware of the people behind you and from the sides, and it just made every combat scenario, more hectic, and you had to pay attention to your surroundings and know that somebody's going to attack you. Listen to the the voices in your head telling you when you're going to be attacked, and they took all that away. It's all one-on-one, very visually cool looking combat, but it's just face one guy, and then defeat him and face the other guy, and it's more about the visual look of it, the most cinematic look of it, than it is about making a more actiony combo based combat system. Now, that's what they wanted to do. It didn't align what I wanted them to do, or what I was hoping for was an evolution, and they just kind of simplified it basically. And the other thing is, it's the average person was beating the game in 4 to 5 hours. Now I know the original Hellblade game, I think the record is pretty quick, but it took me like 9 or 10 hours. And the final nail in the coffin, though, was that they didn't release a physical edition. So as soon as they announced that, I sold my Xbox Series X, and knew that that was definitely the final nail. But the other two issues, the combat not evolving and the length of the game, it just, I'm not, I'll play it someday. I don't know how or where. I don't plan on paying a full price for it or anything, but it was just disappointing that they didn't take the game. It, just for me personally, didn't take the game where I was hoping. As far as announcement of 2024, I think it wasn't really of an announcement. It was just seeing like Sony try to do their games as a service, kind of put it in motion starting in 2024. Well, they had a hit with Helldivers 2 initially. But then, they show, I think it was in 2023, they showed a couple games, and Concord, and another one that reminded me of like Redfall, like a 4-player like heist game. And just to see like how big of a fail that was, and then to find out how much money they put into Concord and bought the studio and hundreds of millions of dollars. And I'm glad the game failed. That might sound crazy to some people, but what can I say? I thought it was just a generic looking Overwatch clone that you're gonna try to build into like your like Sony's Star Wars or PlayStation Star Wars. It was just so blatantly the wrong direction for PlayStation to go as a games as a service company. And I was glad Naughty Dog said, no, we're not going to do that. I don't care what anybody says. This is my opinion. I think Naughty Dog put their foot down and said, we're not going to become a games as a service, a live service studio. It's just too much. That's too much time dedicated to this, and that's not who we are. That's what I feel happened, and I'm glad they canceled it. People were mad. Just get back to doing what you do. Anyway, that them continuing that, I guess the positive would be they canceled almost all those projects, and hopefully they're going to focus back on what they do best. So, all right, let's get to number 5. I thought I changed this. Hold on. Hold on. I don't know what happened. I thought I fixed this. I don't know if it didn't save or what, but anyway, let's see. Number 5, game of the year. And this was higher on my list until the end, but it is The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. This was in my top 3 for a while. I really enjoyed the game. Great visuals, great, amazing music. And oh, sorry, Trilink. I don't think I'm gonna read comments on this. I don't know. My plan was just kind of record this live, and then re-upload it. So, but yeah, people can read the comments, but I'm not gonna be actively engaging. So, but appreciate it. I do like reading them, and but anyway, Echoes of Wisdom, amazing music. Really fun. I really liked the for most of the game. I really enjoyed the echoes and capturing them and then using them in different ways. I'm sure some people played it completely different than me, because as soon as I got like the level 2 and 3 like shielded moblins or whatever, or bokoblins, whatever it was, like that was my go-to. Like my most, if you look at like, you know, your most used, it was the water block was number 1. Like I forget what they were, but yeah, I found it to be very fun, and it was cool to have, you know, this style Zelda game, but in a much expanded like world map. Sorry, Retro. You know, maybe 20% in the middle had some A Link to the Past nods for sure, but it was so rearranged in almost every way, and then the other like 80% of the map was on, it wasn't just the borders, it was most 80% of the map is new in my opinion, and then the 20% in the middle that had not had obvious A Link to the Past areas was still completely changed, like Kakariko Village, the castle, like shielded moblins, but yeah, so I really loved the game, but at one point it took a turn for me, and that was in the final dungeon area, final boss fight. Spoilers, I guess. I mean, you lose the ability to use Link's, you know, summon at Link. So sorry if anybody, spoiler over. But as soon as they took that away, it greatly reduced my enjoyment of combat, and then the final boss was just throwing out echoes and watch them get destroyed, and I just really felt like I was watching and I wasn't a participant in the final boss fight, and that dropped the game all the way down to 5th place for me. If I had other games, I might have dropped out of my top 5 just based on that. But overall, it's still a really good game. I highly recommend if you got a Switch, if you like Zelda. It was a good, like, new to top down, if you will, you know, Zelda game, and I don't want them to give up on that style, but I wouldn't be super excited if they did the same, like did the Echoes thing again. I would like to play as Princess Zelda, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to do the Echoes thing again. So find a different way to give her, like, have her turn into Sheik and do melee combat or something, you know. But anyway, Echoes of Wisdom, number 5 game of 2024. So best music and or sound. I'm gonna say best music is a toss-up between Stellar Blade. God, Astrobot had good music too, but I'm gonna say Stellar Blade and Echoes of Wisdom had some of the best songs. But both games, I'd say Stellar Blade had more songs I didn't care for. But It's tough. It's tough. Astrobot had some good music too, but it also had some annoying, repetitive music. So I'm gonna give it to Echoes of Wisdom overall for best sound or for best music. I'm gonna say best sound design is kind of where I'm gonna angle this. I it's one of the games that's high on my list that no was kind of a secret game. So I'll just say it was that game, and you'll know when I renounce that game. I'll tell you what it was. But had just excellent sound design, excellent music, scary, creepy music, good use of surround sound and weapons and stuff. I'd say Stellar Blade would be a close second, but I'll talk more about that. So number 3, game of the year. All right, I will ask the chat. What do you think to predict my number 3 game of the year after I just. Oh wait, isn't it number 4? Sorry, we're at number 4. I skipped. All right, I have to go a little bit out of order. I was supposed to do biggest best surprise, but I accidentally skipped it to best music. So anyway, number 4 game of the year. Sorry. Um, what do you think my number 4 game of the year is? And I'm gonna adjust this real quick. Reduce this gradient. And then angle this like that. All right. So I ain't gonna wait all day, I guess. Just try to guess for the next, like my top 3. Try to guess that, because my number 4 game of the year is Astrobot. Now this was a really good game. When I first started playing it, I'm like, this is a 10 out of 10. And my number 4 game of the year is Astrobot. So very colorful, very charming game, fun music. This also had really good sound design, good use of the DualSense, lots of collectibles. Really good. Sometimes some levels, the level design, I'd put up my number 4 game of the year. I mean, I don't know what's confusing. My number 4 game of the year. I don't know, maybe I said it wrong, but anyway, some of the level design in some of these levels rivals like Mario games, like Nintendo's best. Now that wasn't the standard. There was, I mean, only a handful, like 3 or 4 that really stood out like that, but it gets me excited, that they achieve such good excellent some such excellent level design. And I would like to see them, just like I said after Astor's Playroom, the one thing I would like to see them do, well, it's a huge thing, is don't make it a simplified platformer. Give us some move sets, give us some options, give people the freedom to, use, just to say, like in Mario, like a double jump into a spin or a backflip into a wall jump, stuff like that can make levels feel more like sandboxy, or it's not just, they give you like a soccer ball on the ground and they give you an enemy. All you gotta do is do your punch attack and it's gonna hit the thing automatic. Like there's no skill involved with a lot of it. Yeah, there's a challenge to the game. There's some very challenging moments, but when it comes to, all right, here's a target in the background, just do your spin attack thing or punch it, whatever, and it's gonna hit it automatically. Like a lot of it feels almost like a rhythm game at times. You just gotta time your jumps. That's about it. It's gonna auto make you, like, basically direct Astrobot at times. Feels like you're on a line that you can't get off of. There are definite challenges though. There are some levels that really push the limits of your skill and your timing and stuff, but for the most part, it's a very simplistic, fairly easy platformer with, even, the best thing about it to me over Playroom is the power-ups, like the arms punching, the spring arms. There's a floating one kind of like Yoshi in Galaxy 2, or you could say a Kirby some of those are really cool. And when I was, first going through the game, I was like, this is amazing. There's one where you shrink down like a mouse, and they only use it once in the entire game, and it just completely transforms a level. It was just so creative, and I'd like to see them go further with that. Don't make the basic move set be jump, hover, and punch. Like give us more. Yeah, the special abilities are cool. Some of them aren't as cool, like the monkey one from Playroom, which is pretty annoying. But overall, it's a really good game. Lots of, you know, charm to it. It's hard not to have a good time playing the game. I just wish there was a little more difficulty, not just let's make a really hard level just, because we're going to put flames and stuff everywhere, but just have it be where it just takes a little more. Maybe there's one path that's easy, not to, sound like a Sonic game, but yeah, you could just take this easier path, but hey, let's for those skilled players, here's another option and stuff. I don't know what exactly they would do or should do. Like it'd be something really have to think about, but just give them some more moves, something that adds to the complexity of the gameplay, and it's you don't at times just feel like it's auto playing for you. So, but anyway, Astrobot number 4 game of the year. Now I was already supposed to. You got to. I was meant to swap. Best music would have been next, and I was supposed to already do this. And this is biggest slash best surprise of 2024. And honestly, it's tough to say like there was like some huge surprise. Biggest best surprise was after I played a game and how good it was. And yeah, that would probably there's a couple games that I don't want to reveal for those that don't know what my top 5 is going to be. Um it's a couple games coming up on my list. But Zelda's Echoes of Wisdom was a nice surprise. I did not expect Nintendo to have a fairly big new game in 2024. So that I'd say that was a pretty big surprise, and a good surprise because it was a good game. Also, back the biggest disappointment I should have mentioned was Nintendo just dragging out the life of the Switch and not releasing the Switch 2. That would have been that was a disappointment for me. But yeah, so I'll go to my number 3 game of the year so I can talk about my actual best surprise of the year. So let's get to the number 3 game of the year is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. This was my best surprise. This game is it's really tough for these top 3. I could easily put this as my game of the year, except for a couple things. But I mean, just some of the best, like, I wouldn't say puzzles, but use of mechanics in a puzzle kind of puzzle way. Figure out this, or there's one Retro Death and I we're trying to we're hyping up and trying to get the guys excited about is like there's one where you have like 3 timelines to go do stuff to move switches and open doors and stuff. You do it once, and then the second time you go through and your ghost of the previous timelines doing the other thing, and then on the final one you need to make sure those first 2 had opened the doors properly at the right time so you could run through and get to the end. I mean, that's just one example. There's just some really awesome like level design based puzzles where it's just like you have to you know there's like saws going and you have to use your abilities, and for me it felt like it was a challenge, but I got through a lot of the stuff in one try just because I just feel like I had mastered the controls. I had mastered the moves in the game. Now maybe it's just a little bit easier than I was giving it credit for, but the level design on some of this is awesome. The boss fights were really good. You know what? There's not a lot of times where I thought of the music. I'm sure the music was good, but it didn't really jump out at me. The story was actually really good. There's just some really cool area where the time's frozen with these ships on the ocean, like all frozen in time. It's just there's some really cool stuff. I mean, I put this game right up there with Metroid Dread. I mean, I don't know how what else to say. It's up there for me for a Metroid like game. Like it's just it's good, man. And it's sold said they sold 1.3 million copies, but I think they kind of disbanded the studio or something if I remember correctly. If you I mean it's on every system. If you like Metroid games at all, if you like that style like Ori, um Hollow Knights, I mean this is more action like combat with a sword, but man, it's so good. And I wish more people would play it. And I know clocked it. You know, he didn't have it quite as high, but it was. I predicted he'd say 7 out of 10, and I'm pretty sure that's what he said. I just kind of I feel like I know clocked it on that level. Like when I love a game, I can still say yeah, clock it's gonna say this is a 7, and but I think most people will enjoy it, and I forget how many hours. I got a platinum trophy on it. I think I had like 20 something hours. Let me see if I. That's the thing. Most of these games I put a good amount of time in. Um, Let me just look at my PlayStation recap here. 29 hours. Got the platinum trophy in it, which was cool. Let me see. I think that was the updated time. Yeah, 29 hours. It was a really good game. I was not expecting it to be that good. I heard it was good, but I didn't want to believe it, or I just didn't believe it. Um, but yeah, love that game. All right, best visuals slash graphics of 2024. And I usually break down Switch and non-Switch games. That's just for the other guys on the podcast. But I will say, Echoes of Wisdom definitely is one of the best visuals of any game I played this year, and you know, it looks great. I got a new TV in like October. I forget when that game came out, but got a 77-inch OLED, and it looked phenomenal on there. Forgot to say one of the bigger negatives for the game, besides kind of the ending for me, and that's where the combat really felt like hands off, was the frame rate. Like that game, there's no reason to release that game on Switch with, I forget what Digital Foundry or somebody pointed out how often it's at 30 versus how often it's at 60, and it's like you need the Switch 2 for that game because that frame rate was pretty bad, but it was the cost of having some really amazing visuals. I would give a shout out to Stellar Blade as well on the PS5 Pro. It's one of the best, cleanest looking games I've seen. Obviously, it's not up to the level of like Forbidden West, but I want to give a shout out to that game. And yeah, overall, Prince of Persia, I didn't mention this. I don't like the art style. Like, I don't like the style of the characters. I like the characters, but it just something about just the general art style of the human characters that just wasn't visually appealing to me. But it did have some really clean, some nice looking stuff. Astrobot also very clean. And if you're wondering why I'm going on and on, it's because I'm still trying to debate which game is my number 2 and which game is my game of the year. I think it's going to change. Because right now, there's one thing that's holding up one game from being there, and that's I don't think I've played enough of it. I beat it. I'm on my second playthrough. But I don't know if it's one of those games where it's going to keep getting better, or it's going to like dip for me. Almost every year I go back and revisit my game of the year, and I think I made the wrong choice. I remember specifically it was Mario Maker and Xenoblade Chronicles X. I think I gave it to Mario Maker, and I regretted that. So in 2018 or 2017, was it 2017? Yeah, I regretted giving Xenoblade. I regretted giving Xenoblade Chronicles X the slot behind Mario Maker so much that I bumped Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I think, ahead of Mario Odyssey, and now there's no way I feel like I shouldn't have done that. One game, they're both really good. One game has slightly more negatives because I played it a lot more, and I'm debating. I went in thinking I had settled, and now I'm like I'm torn. Um, yeah, it's probably gonna change, but here's my number two game of 2024, and that is Silent Hill 2, a game I only just told the guys I had played. I think yesterday I revealed it. This is also one of the best surprises, and this was the game for best. Like the sound design on this game is amazing. I never played the original. I've never played a Silent Hill game in my life. I'm just gonna hold this up. Um, this game is so good. That must be his wife on the cover. But I still have no idea like exactly what happened. Like what the hell is that damn world? I have theories, but I'm playing through it again. I have 23 hours in the game, and I'm about 4 or 5 in my second playthrough. I'm gonna try to get. I looked up how I got the ending. I got the water ending. For those that know, I don't. I guess that one's a little trickier to get, but I got it on my first try. So now I'm gonna try to avoid to get that. So I looked at how you get that one to try to avoid getting it again. I'm very curious to, just based on the names of the other endings. I'm very curious. I think that'll fill in some blanks for the story. Um, but what can I say? It's like, probably right now. This is why I think it's eventually gonna be my game of the year. Looking back, it's already right there with Resident Evil 2 remake for like my favorite survival horror game. The melee combat, which looked janky as hell in the trailer, is so fun and like strategic, like puzzle. Like it's like a fighting puzzle. Some of these enemies, and there it's. I'd say a negative is that you fight the same enemies, like pretty much the same, like four enemies most 90% of the game, and the ones that are like the toughest are like they have legs. Like let's see, yeah, they have two sets of legs. The top legs are their arms. Um, those aren't the hardest. There's actually some nurse enemies that are pretty tough. That the melee combat's not as effective and forces me to shoot, but it's like exploration, like my perfect level of exploration in a game. I'm searching every nook and cranny. It's like The Last of Us, where I'm like opening drawers, finding ammo, you find health. The story and the characters are great. The main character James, some of the best like performance capture I've ever seen in a game. Like the emotions on his face, his character model is like super well done. The other character Maria's pretty well done. I think they definitely gave James a lot more of the effort. Obviously, he's the main character, and then there's Angela, David Duchovny. I don't know what the hell went wrong with that. I don't know what they were thinking with that one. I wish I hadn't seen the comparison. Somebody put David Duchovny's face on hers, and it's hard to unsee. But I'm not sure her role in the story. I haven't figured everything out. I know I've seen both the movies back in the day. They both sucked. But Silent Hill 2, man, it's really good. There's a lot of dark stuff though, where your flashlight. I have an OLED TV, so black is black. Anything that's supposed to be black is dead. Absolute black. I would hate to have a TV where black is like gray, because that would look terrible. But I would say that's a little bit of a negative. Is just the eye strain of like trying to see, because all you have is your little flashlight illuminating stuff for felt like an hour and a half, 2 hour part of the game. It's just so dark, but just creepy as hell. Like excellent sound design. I think it's Unreal Engine 5. It's not. At first glance, you're like, oh, it's ugly. It's kind of an ugly game. It's because the world is supposed to look ugly and dirty and grimy. There's areas in the game that look amazingly real, detailed, and the lighting and stuff, but it's just so grimy and dirty. Oops, I forgot to switch this. Um, that it's like, yeah, the game's kind of visually ugly, but it's supposed to be, but it's also technically very impressive. Yeah, there's some artifacting and reflections, and they had the whole debacle on the Pro where the PSSR was broken at launch and they had to patch it. I don't know if they just took it away or whatever, but yeah, I can't wait. Like, I'm still playing the game. I started on New Year's Eve and I put 7 hours in the first night, so um, it's a good game. So just to reiterate, Silent Hill 2. I wish I had switched the text here, the graphic, but now let's get to best non 2024 game I beat in 2024, and there was only one, but it was so good I have no issues. So Street Fighter 6. It's my first Street Fighter purchase since Street Fighter 2 Turbo on the Super NES back in like 93 or whenever that came out. That's the game I was just talking about on the podcast. I rode my pedal bike like 5 miles to go buy, and then on the way back the wind was in my face. But Street Fighter 6 is phenomenal. I paid $40 for it. I get it. The fighting roster's low. The count of fighters is low. It's unacceptable for a $60 game. I don't feel as bad paying 40, and I didn't buy any characters yet. But and I didn't play it online. I didn't have PlayStation Plus the entire time. I did the single player RPG style single player that's really fun. That was about 20 hours, and then I just did a bunch of fighting and tried to get good, but honestly without like friends to play against, it didn't last that long for me, like a month and a half. And I haven't played it a ton since then, but what's there is great. The fighters that are there are perfect. All the designs are perfect, from Ryu to E Honda, Chun Li, Cammy. I wasn't as familiar with all the characters, but like Zangief and Guile, the new characters, Ken, all of them, they're just perfectly brought to life in this modern Street Fighter game. So, you know, I think it would have been awesome to have a couple buddies to play against consistently. It would be in the regular rotation like Smash. It's just so good. It's just gameplay is so good. The controls are perfect. My muscle memory from 1990s, mid 1990s still worked in 2024. So shout outs to Capcom. They've been killing it pretty much since RE7 came out. I think that's when their comeback started, and they just don't disappoint. I know they had like that weird dinosaur game, like I don't even know what it's called. I think they had something that might have came out already, like that online game, like games as a service game. But other than that, the Resident Evil games, the remakes, the new games, Street Fighter, the upcoming Monster Hunter, they had the Monster Hunter Rise. It just seems like Capcom's killing it. So shout outs to them. And now we'll get to the actual game of the year. Again, this might change the more I play Silent Hill 2, but I got 90 hours, and I mean, anybody that knows, and I already mentioned it a couple times, and that is Stellar Blade. There's a moment in this game where I was like, there's no way this could, this is going to be my game of the year. But that happened during my second playthrough or my third? I was trying to get the platinum trophy, and I realized I had to beat it a third time, and I just kind of rushed through it, and I was just like, there's a lot of the game that's completely skippable. Like, just to do the main story stuff, you can get through the game, I want to say, in like 5-6 hours. I have 90 plus hours in the game, and like Terrell just said it recently, the combat, and he's not even like fully unlocked his characters, like the move sets and level, with the it's kind of people called it an action RPG, but it's more of an action game with just RPG elements, I would say. Your kind of your move set very similar like Bayonetta and stuff. You add moves through materials and currency kind of you pick up in the game, and you can choose to unlock this ability versus this ability, this move where you can take one power like special move, and then if you level it up so that you can um, use it, hit triangle after it finishes, and you do like a secondary or second stage attack. You can level up all your special moves that way. You can add um, what are they called? Basically perks. You can pick and choose which ones will benefit your play style. Upgrade your health, upgrade your stamina type stuff. All that's in there. There's a ton of like the perk system that you can upgrade those. Like I wish I had a like exact example right on the top of my head, but basically, you know, do whatever percentage damage with range attacks or with melee attacks, or reduce damage from melee, that kind of stuff. But it's very fleshed out. It's gives you a reason to explore. Obviously all the costumes, everyone, the notorious, Stellar Blade, obviously the character design got a lot of attention in here. That's another one of my biggest disappointments, was just the reaction from certain side when it comes to an attractive female character. And it all started with an Xbox fanboy. Started a whole Asmongold was reacting to this dude's comments, and it snowballed, and it was one person in the beginning, but all the discourse after that just really opened my eyes to a certain thing, which I'm not going to get into. But anyway, there's an outfit for everybody in this game. If you don't want to a sexy doll, then wear the full clothed outfits. Like if for those that want her in the skin outfit, where it's kind of like, it feels like Ghost in the Shell, where like the skin suit I think is just like, she's an android for anybody that doesn't know. She's not like human, but they added a lot of jiggle physics, so it's not like a robot body. But if you want to play in the skin suit, play in the skin suit. I don't. To me, that didn't look that appealing. I found a good outfit. I'm not one of these I need scantily clad women or anything like that. But point is, it covers all spectrums. There's a Kill Bill like outfit, the yellow like jumpsuit. There's just all kinds of stuff. And to me, it's like, again, one of the reviews complained about, I'm doing this serious scene and I'm in a bunny suit. Well, don't put on the bunny suit, you idiot. That's an option. That's an optional outfit. The main outfit isn't a bunny suit. So it's just stupid. The whole discourse around that was stupid. But the combat is so good. The counter system is fun. It's Sekiro-esque. Not as difficult, but it's still challenging. There's a dodge too that you can time your dodge and get a little slowdown, like a Bayonetta almost. And it's just really fun. Like I was saying earlier, I was thinking there's no way this is gonna be my game of the year when I was kind of rushing through. Well, my fourth time through, I started it again, and to get the Nier DLC, and then also there was some free content updates that were added that since I beat it. And so I went back, and they gave you a photograph of an area, and I was like, oh, I know where that area is. And you go there, and that's where the thing is that you need to do. And then you do like 10 of them, and then unlocked a new outfit or whatever. I really like that kind of stuff. So once I went back and played it again, I was like, man, this combat is just so good. I'm really enjoying fighting everything. I wasn't running past anybody. Like I was just fighting everybody. I was looking at the map. I was like, I think I know where that's at. Like that's fun stuff to me. Now that's nothing to do with the main game. This is well after I'd beaten it 3 times, but I really had fun with that. I know the areas very well. There's a decent variety of environments. Gorgeous looking game, even base PS5, but PS5 Pro took it to the next level. It's just super clean, very fluid, 60 frames per second. Well, it's 80 FPS on the PS5, or the Pro, I should say. Which, why would it be 80? Well, if 120 hertz TV, 80's a decent, but it was just a weird choice either way. Just makes it just a little bit more responsive in the controls. But I mean, some minor gripes, yeah. Some of the platforming, I guess, feels a little off. Like, hey, this is a combat action game. The platforming isn't perfect, but I definitely got used to it. And the story's actually pretty cool. It's a cool idea. It's not near automata, like deep. You're not gonna be questioning your existence or anything, but great enemy design. Some of the boss like creature designs are just very Platinum Games esque, just with visuals. It'd be what, like, I'd love to see Platinum Games like build a game for like the PS5, like from like just Nintendo and Platinum build a game for PS5 level power, because that's what I feel like Stellar Blade is. It's just really great. The music's great. The people complain about the main character being boring, but that's her character. She is kind of a stoic character. She's not a hot, like, rah rah excited. But when she gets mad, she gets mad. She's more of a subdued character. For some people, that's boring. I'd rather have that than a character who's constantly talking to themselves and just flapping their mouth all the time. So uh, yeah, Platinum's top. They're top like creators. I'm sure that they still have talent on the probably the programming side, but yeah, maybe there's somebody left there that learned everything they could from Kamiya and could make good a good game. But now they're working with Team Ninja, so I think that's a good fit. But yeah, Stellar Blade, man, it's a throwback too. Almost every review I watched said the same thing. It's like, man, this feels like a sixth gen, like sixth gen, early seventh gen era game. Like just an action game, tons of content, tons of unlockable stuff, replay value. Um, Obviously the main character, they're not trying to shy away from you know the male gaze. There's no political agenda bullshit. It's just a fun game from passionate gamers, and it was their first like big AAA game, and I think they knocked it out of the park. Yeah, there's room for improvement. There's a few things, a few tedious things like the fishing. Um, I actually turned the accessibility mode on for half the game because the fishing was just, it's cool, it's challenging, but it was just a little too much. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I keep playing Silent Hill 2. It might pass it. They were so close already. But what can I say? I put 90 hours. I kept going back to Stellar Blade. In the last 10 hours I put in the game were just like, oh my god, this is like, I love this game. Like, it's just, you know, it's just really fun to play. The music's really good, like the visuals are good. There's not a lot. I encountered one or two glitches where enemies would kind of float in the air after you kill them, but hardly anything else. No major issues. I don't remember the file size. I think it had, the content updates added some, and the patches added some file size, but I don't think it's like a massive game or anything, like size wise. Um, but yeah, I mean, I was looking forward to the game. The gameplay looked really good, and it delivered. You know, if you got a PS5, check out the demo at the very least. Gives you a good taste of the game. And that's it. Let's recap. I know some people jumped in and out, but I'll just go to full screen here. Number 5 was Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Number 4, probably surprising to some people, bit overrated game. I mean, it's a really good game, but no 95 or 94 out of 100. Astrobot. Number 3, which this could have easily been my number 2 or 1, honestly, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. As of today, January 31st, 2025, I'm saying Silent Hill 2 is my number 2, but it's basically a tie already with my Game of the Year, Stellar Blade. and it's only the second time, and it's hard, it's coming to PC, but this is only the second time I think ever that a PlayStation exclusive has been my game of the year. The other time was Returnal. So, and this is about, and Returnal's on PC. That's Nintendo's IP or Sony's IP. I don't think this is Sony's IP. I'm sure Shift Up possibly owns the IP. I don't know, but it's it's close enough. But yeah, it rarely happens. It rarely happens where a PlayStation exclusive Sony IP wins my game of the year. Um, and honestly, I didn't think of that till literally a minute ago. But yeah, so that's gonna be it. I'm just gonna end the stream, and basically this could be for people watching the replay. And yeah, we'll probably discuss some of this in the podcast. Mizati's gonna have to reveal his top five, and now I can watch Retro's top five because I was saving it. I thought maybe if we did the podcast, we could show your top five, like give you a little shine during, reveal your top five during the podcast. But I'm gonna go watch yours, see what you had. I'm gonna guess Prince of Persia was your game of the year, but trying to think what else. Echoes of Wisdom, Prince of Persia. What else did I see you play? Anyway, I'll go watch that. But yeah, thanks for those that did tune in live, and let me know in the comments below what your top five of 2024 was, and we'll see you next time.